Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, which would have been a stream, but because I have things I got to take care of later, I won't be able to stream today. But there is some news that came out that I really wanted to talk about, and it's actually pretty funny that if you can't tell, that GameStop is actually buying Bitcoin. They're following strategies, lead and how they are doing it. So I thought that was funny. But we're going to cover that. We're going to cover some stock market news, and we'll do a quick portfolio update because I did add some additional money to a position I have, which I will cover here in just a moment. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the video real quick. As you guys know, I'm not a financial advisor, etc. Those are people you should talk to. Also, I do live streams Monday to Friday most of the time, at least starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Hopefully when daylight savings concludes, it'll push back to 8 p.m. All right. So if you want to be a part of those streams, get in on the conversation, be sure to, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I do a live. All right, let's get into this. So this is my portfolio today. All right, I'm going to do a deep dive into the portfolio a little later, but right now we're sitting at a net annual income of $59,000, almost $60,000. So that's a small bump from yesterday. March income is expected to be $5,600. Obviously not, because we're at the end of March and I've already been collecting dividends. So this actually spiked up because of what, the additional money added to the portfolio. All right. I am using margin. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I am using margin. I have $90,000 in margin. All right. So I have a total portfolio value for the cover call income stack of $190,000. Currently it's sitting at 185. For the core portfolio, which is where I keep most of my REITs, where I keep all my REITs, I suppose, and a tech focused ETF, VGT, that is sitting at a book value of $382,000. But right now, because of the market downtrend and everything else, we're actually at $365,000. So all in all, I'm down about $22,000. Which is a welcome sign because it's showing that the markets are recovering. I was down almost $34,000 at one point in time. So this is all welcome news. All right, let's get into it, guys. Let's just get into the stock market news. So right here is the heat map for today. As we can see, is kind of a shotgun of, red and green. Some companies did better than others. Obviously, it's kind of upsetting that Nvidia actually started sloping back down along with Broadcom, and that was because of some news that came out from China, from Alibaba, basically saying that, something about their foundry, something about, chips. I didn't really read the whole article, but it had an impact on U.S. stocks, specifically in the semiconductor space. But we see across most, they're doing very well. All right, we had a pretty decent green day. And it was kind of muted, right? When the market opened, we had that spike, and then it kind of just lulled a bit, and it just stayed steady. And the reason for that was because of some consumer reporting that came out, and which we'll get to in a minute. But basically, a consumer report came out, and it felt like the stock market didn't even know what to do with that information. So that was kind of funny. Wall Street posts its first 3-day win streak since early February. All right, U.S. stocks ended Tuesday in the green after seesawing throughout the session, further extending Wall Street's rebound from correction territory. As you guys know, we were down pretty bad over the last couple of weeks, so it's been nice that we've actually started to recover. We've seen some green days, and I hope we see additional green days well into the future. But as you guys know, we have that impending April 2nd date. I think that will really be the day that the stock market is going to react. That is going to be the day where the stock market is either going to continue on its upward trajectory towards recovery, or we're going to have probably an even more severe downturn. All right. So right now we're taking a wait and see approach. There has been a changing in narrative on the tariff situation from the Trump administration, primarily because, he painted a broad brush. Then it was reciprocal tariffs. At first it was, to get fentanyl done and put troops at the border for Mexico and Canada. And then it changed again. And then now it's, they're going to be doing a tier list, which I covered in yesterday's stream, but they're going to be approaching it as a tier list, low, medium, high. And, now they're going to be targeting, specific tariffs for specific countries, for certain sectors. So again, it's a fluid situation. Shortly after the opening bell, the conference board said the U.S. Consumer Confidence Index retreated to 92.9 in March, trailing the 94.2 consensus and revealing that consumers' short-term outlook for income, business, and labor market conditions have dropped to its lowest level in 12 years. That is very concerning. The data was yet another example of a survey compiling a gloomy picture for the future. Last week, the University of Michigan's monthly survey showed year-ahead inflation expectations in March, jumping to the highest reading since November of 2022. Moreover, the long-run inflation expectations surged by the most since 1993. All right, so what this is telling us is the future is starting to look a little more bleak, okay? And I'll get into this a little bit. But yeah, Vanguard actually came out with their own paper, I guess, or their own article, whatever you want to call it, and they're actually downgrading, along with a lot of other institutions. They're downgrading their forecast for the United States growth down from 2.1% down to 1.7%, right, for GDP, for gross domestic product. That is not good, right? That is basically all these large institutions believing that we're, heading for lower growth expectations, which is obviously going to have a negative impact on the stock market. So again, we will see. This is changing. This is an ever-changing environment. This is going to be a rocky year, and I've said this in the past in some of my earlier videos. 2025 is going to be the most exciting year for a lot of people. We have a new administration. This administration is doing all kinds of crazy things at the very start of, his administration. So this year, 2025, is going to be a year you either make a lot of money or you make no money or you lose all your money, right? So staying ahead of the news, staying in the news, understanding how to position yourself. This is what's really going to help you win this year. All right. So in the news was GameStop, right? And I covered this article a couple of weeks ago in one of my other lives, but GameStop surges 8% because it might get into Bitcoin, right? This was all based on a rumor. Ryan Cohen, who you can see here on the right of Michael Saylor, he met with Michael Saylor, and it was rumored, right, that GameStop, if you guys remember GameStop from, was it 2021 or something like that, 2021, GameStop Mania. If you guys remember the whole GameStop Mania thing, where they were trying to short squeeze it, it was all over the news, all these investors were piling in. This is what gave Robinhood a really bad reputation. But basically, everyone was piling into GameStop. And it was called GameStop Mania, right? It was the meme coin, or not the meme coin, but it became a meme stock. So Ryan Cohen met with Michael Saylor, who runs Strategy, or formerly known as Microstrategy. And Microstrategy, or Strategy, they own well over 5,000 Bitcoin, I think. Or I could be wrong about that number, but I know it's some obscene amount of Bitcoin, right? They own pretty much close to $50 billion worth of Bitcoin. All right, if that's a better number. Maybe it's 500 Bitcoin or 500,000 Bitcoin. I don't know. But yeah, anyways, they own a lot of Bitcoin. And when these two met, it was basically rumored that Ryan Cohen is probably looking at adding Bitcoin to GameStop's balance sheet, right? To follow in mstr's, steps to have a Bitcoin treasury. This is the only thing propping up mstr is Bitcoin. That is the only thing. Their software company is pretty much dead, in my opinion. It's not really making all that much money. Michael Saylor has come up with a couple of different ways in order to invest into Bitcoin via mstr, and that's through, the actual common shares of mstr. That's through their Strike preferred shares. And then he came out with another one called Strife, which is another preferred share. And then he also has the convertible debt that's offered to institutions. But if you want to invest in that convertible debt yourself through Rex shares, they offer something called BMax. So anyways, long story short, Michael Saylor is hell-bent on buying as much Bitcoin as possible, and he's using any tool he can utilize in order to raise money and acquire Bitcoin, which is, love him or hate him, you believe in Bitcoin or not, that is the fact. That is what he's doing, right? But anyways, this story is not about Michael Saylor. It's about Ryan Cohen. So Ryan Cohen met with Michael Saylor, and then the rumor popped, right? So it's funny enough that today, March 25th, 2025, GameStop is going to invest in their corporate cash into Bitcoin, following in the footsteps of MicroStrategy. So, real quick, video game retailer GameStop announced Tuesday its board has unanimously approved a plan to buy Bitcoin with its corporate cash, echoing a move made famous by MicroStrategy. The meme stock jumped more than 6% in extended trading following the news. The announcement confirmed CNBC's reporting in February on GameStop's intention to add Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to its balance sheet. The retailer said a portion of its cash or future debt and equity issuances, again, right here, future debt and equity issuances may be invested in Bitcoin and US dollar denominated stable coins. All right, so they're also going to be coming out with their GameStop preferred shares, the GameStop convertible debt, so they're coming out with all the same products that MicroStrategy has. All right, the only difference, in my opinion, is that GameStop actually has money, liquid money, not money tied up in Bitcoin, so they can make these moves, right? They can make these purchases. So this is going to be interesting, to say the least. All right, GameStop would be following in the footsteps of software company MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy, which has bought billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin in recent years to become the largest holder of Bitcoin. The move prompted a rapid but volatile rise for Strategy stock. GameStop's foray into cryptocurrencies marks the latest effort from CEO Ryan Cohen to revive the struggling brick and mortar business. You guys know what GameStop is. All right, GameStop, they sell video games, they sell consoles, right? Xbox, PS, I don't know what version it is now. I haven't played a game in a long time, but probably PS5s. You can trade in your games. They sell just a bunch of other random crap, right? But it's all like video game focused. You could buy controllers, you could buy kind of like setups, all that stuff. But anyways, it has been known, like, the whole brick and mortar game business has been kind of dying, right? Because a lot of games have moved online. You can now download a lot of games either from Xbox, Play Store, or PlayStation's Play Store directly. You don't need to go into GameStop anymore. Even for computer-based games, right? You can download everything off Steam. You can download everything off whatever it is that they have these days. I think there's Steam and there's one other company, but you can download games directly now. You don't need to go into a GameStop. But GameStop is trying to innovate, trying to find a new way to stay, above ground, I guess, stay relevant. So going into cryptocurrency, I guess, is what companies do when they need to find new ways to innovate and new ways to make money, right? So I guess this is the playbook from now on. The company said the move could expose itself to the volatility associated with cryptocurrencies. Well, duh. Bitcoin, for example, is a highly volatile asset and has experienced significant price fluctuations over our time. Our Bitcoin strategy has not been tested and may prove unsuccessful, GameStop said in a filing. All right, the world's largest cryptocurrency has been on a roller coaster since since President Donald Trump took office. After shooting up to a piercing $100,000 milestone, Bitcoin then declined about 18% from its record high to approximately $88,000 a piece. It actually dropped lower than that. It dropped almost basically to $79,000 a coin. So that was wild. So I tip my hat to any Bitcoin investor, anyone investing in mstr. I tip my hat to you. But back to this point, I've said it in several of my other streams before that, the whole point of Bitcoin is to be decentralized. It's not to be held by any one person, by any one institution, by any one government, right? It's supposed to be completely decentralized and free for everybody. And to have all these large corporations, governments starting to put their hands into it, starting to acquire Bitcoin. You have, what was it? Not Venezuela, but there's that country down south in South America. Is it Paraguay? I think, I can't remember the country right now. But you have all these countries that are starting to buy Bitcoin, right? All these governments that are starting to buy Bitcoin. So again, you guys be the judge. You tell me, right? I'm not, I'm not heavily into crypto or Bitcoin, to say the least. And I follow it where I can, and I just, kind of report on it here and there whenever I find something interesting about it. Me personally, I just invest in the ETF version. I don't want to bother with cold storage while it's hot storage wallets, holding keys and passwords and catchphrases, all this other crap. I don't want to deal with any of that. So I would rather just own an ETF version that handles all of that for me. And that way, if I don't have to lose if I lose my password, I don't have to, I don't have to pay a bunch of money to try and hack into the damn wallet. Or maybe the wallet just stops working, right? And then there goes all your Bitcoin. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, so this is a really interesting thing coming out of GameStop. Who knows what will actually happen, but I will not be surprised to see GameStop come out with their own preferred shares, their own convertible debt, and their own, kind of the same mechanisms that MicroStrategy has, again, referring to the strike, referring to strife, and referring to their convertible debt. So again, all very interesting stuff. I published a video some time ago, October 28th to be exact, on an article that came out from Goldman Sachs, basically talking about how there's not going to be a whole lot of growth over this next decade, right? And it's partly in fault due to the Magnificent Seven, right? It's partly due to them having this, muted growth. And we've seen this in the earnings, right? I've showed you guys this. You guys can look up, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Nvidia. You can look up a couple of those other Magnificent Seven companies. But it's not that they're losing money or that they don't have money. It's just that they're not growing like they used to, right? And basically this article explains that, right? This article goes into that. And then they're basically trying to pitch investors that they should consider an equal weighted ETF, an equal weighted S&P 500 versus the standard S&P 500, which is, based on a market weighted approach, right? So this is why the Magnificent Seven, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, who else is in there? Tesla, Nvidia. I'm sure I'm missing one, but this is why they make up 30% of the weighting for the S&P 500. So basically Goldman Sachs is saying that, because of these companies, their growth is slowing down. It's almost becoming flat, that they predict over this next decade, as long as these companies remain in the top 30%, by market cap, that they're actually going to bring down returns of the total index, right? Of the total return for that index. So that was an interesting read. And again, I just want to go over this again. This article will be down below in the description for you guys to read yourself. But it is a fascinating read, all right? And, I talked about how, the Magnificent Seven is basically having muted growth, right? They're not going to be growing as much as they used to. This article pretty much explains just that. All right. And I really think people should look at this, because now as investors, we have to start looking at opportunities elsewhere, right? The Amazons, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Apples, they've already done as much as they can. Even with the whole AI revolution that's happening right now, they've already peaked, in my opinion. And now you have companies like Google that have to purchase other businesses in order to stay relevant, in order to maintain their edge. Google, they just purchased Wiz for $32 billion. Wiz is a cybersecurity company. By purchasing Wiz, that, manages, Fortune 100 company cybersecurity, they are now competing with Microsoft, right? Instead of building their own product, instead of Google having to build their own product, hire a bunch of people, and do all that stuff, which would have cost probably a couple $1 billion anyways, they just decided, hey, let's just go through some merger acquisitions. Let's identify one of the best players in the space and just purchase them, right? So we see that happening. We even see that with Nvidia. Nvidia just purchased not too long ago Gretel, if I remember the name correctly. And Gretel basically does some fancy stuff with AI. Don't don't quote me on all of this. I know I saw the article for Gretel. I don't have it handy with me right now. I was looking at it on my phone. I forgot to bring it up during this stream. But basically, all these companies now have to purchase companies, other smaller companies, in order to maintain their innovative edge, or they have to invest in other companies. You know, Nvidia right now has a stake in CoreWeave, which is a data center that's going to be built specifically for AIs, right? This is their whole kind of niche. And CoreWeave has been around for a long time. They used to be known as something else. They used to be an Ethereum miner, but now they're, you know, riding the whole AI wave because they have so much Nvidia hardware. So, you know, they're offering this. They have a partnership, a $12 billion partnership with OpenAI. They have an IPO coming out, which I won't really be touching myself personally. After doing some more due diligence, I would like to do a wait and see approach for CoreWeave to see if they can clean up after their IPO, because you have founders selling a bunch of shares, and you have not only that, but you also have them like basically owing a lot of money. They have a lot of debt on their balance sheet. But anyways, not part of this stream. So anyways, we're going to wrap up, and then I'm going to show you guys my portfolio. All right. So real quick, we'll just go down here. S&P 500, we closed out the day with 16 basis points. Again, it was very like muted. Like, I don't know. I was watching this throughout the night, and yeah, you had some, you know, some climbs and then some dips, but really it was kind of like a lull. It wasn't really doing anything. So, I mean, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. I will take that for sure. I will take that. Let me make the screen bigger so you guys don't have to put your eyeballs to the screen. But yeah, basically, really happy how this came out. At least we're in the green for the day. So excited about that. We have the NASDAQ 100 up 53 basis points, or almost a half a percentage point, which is always good. We have Bitcoin actually sitting at 87, almost $88,000. Okay, it did drop a little bit, and then it seemed to recover throughout the day. Again, looking at the 1 month, it did drop down to $79,000. Okay, and this was like peak pessimism right here. Will it go down again to $79,000? I don't know. I think this whole thing with GameStop is probably going to make the price go up further, right? I know there's this whole talk of, you know, the crypto winner, the Bitcoin winner, whatever you want to call it. Is that possible? Is that going to happen? I have no idea. There is a lot of people in the crypto space that believe we are headed for crypto winner, but maybe not, right? If you have companies like GameStop, they're now going to start putting billions of dollars into Bitcoin and creating their own treasury. I think that's going to probably inflate the price. All right. And we probably won't be heading back down to $79,000. All right. Or even lower than that. So we will see what happens. Of course, as GameStop makes their moves, I'll definitely cover that in the streams. All right. For gold, we use gold as kind of like a barometer for investor sentiment. And actually, it's the best performing asset year to date at 13%, or almost 13.5%. But it looks like they had a lot of outflows over the last couple of days. And I think that was primarily because they wanted to get money out of gold and into equities, right? Into equities, probably back into Bitcoin or something. So that is why it had this like large dip. This was, you know, from last week, and then Monday and today. So, you know, that is a welcome sign. For US 10-year Treasury, we use the 10-year Treasury as kind of a barometer for real estate, for mortgages, because, you know, mortgages have been pretty high, and that's really been the pressure on real estate, right? So seeing this come down has been awesome. Seeing it continue to go down has been great. But, you know, it looks like it's kind of been creeping back up, and this is obviously due to tariff fears, uncertainty, doubt for the future. But, you know, I'm hopeful to see this go down because Scott Bessent, who is the Secretary of Treasury, mentioned along with, you know, Donald Trump that they will be focusing on the 10-year. And then, of course, in the news, you see that Donald Trump is actually focusing not only on trying to bring this down, but he's also trying to pester the Fed to lower interest rates. So I am really hopeful that we will see this 10-year Treasury come down, which will be welcome news because this will be a strong tailwind for the real estate market, right? Whether you're investing into physical real estate like rental properties, or if you're investing into REITs, which brings me to my next point, the Vanguard Real Estate Index ETF VNQ, which is kind of like the S&P 500 version, but for REITs. You know, we have a saying in the space that whenever rates are up, 10-year Treasury, REITs are down. Same thing likewise, right? Or same thing reverse. You know, when rates are down, then REITs are up. So it looks like that the rate actually went up a bit. Yeah, you can see it actually went up a bit, and then REITs basically took a nosedive. So, is what it is, all right? But it is good to see that year to date, this is the second best performing asset year to date at 1.61%, all right? I think Bitcoin is catching up. If we look at year to date for Bitcoin, they're still down a ways. But yeah, it's gold and real estate, pretty much the safest, boring assets that have been performing well this year. All right, let's do a quick portfolio update, and then we'll close out this video. All right, guys. So portfolio in the green, thankfully. All right. I do have a lot of leverage in this portfolio, a lot of margin. I'll show you guys right here. It's actually a $190,000 portfolio with all the margin used. And I'm only a couple $1,000s off from being fully recovered. So I'm really happy about that. Again, just waiting and being patient and letting the markets recover and making my purchases here and there. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I did make another purchase. So I bought NVW, right? And I ended up buying more NVW today. I dropped 10 grand yesterday, and then I dropped an additional 10 grand today. So you guys can see that right here in my buys. And I had to add these 2 shares because I wanted to make an even 500 shares. So I had 250 here, which was today. And then I added the additional 2 shares, right, to bring it up to 500. But I bought 248 shares March 24th. So that will do it for this whole video. All right. And that'll do it for this portfolio. As you guys can see, PLTW still doing very well. It's 1-2x leveraged ETF4 Palantir from Roundhill. NVW is the same thing, but for Nvidia. qdte, which is a 0 data expiry cover call ETF for the S&P 500. This one's starting to recover very well, and I like it. As the S&P 500 starts to recover, so will XDT and XPay. So I'm really hopeful that, you know, by hopefully April 3rd, we'll start to see an upward trajectory. We'll start to see an upward trend and recovery. YETH, which is the Roundhill Ethereum cover call ETF. This one's been hovering. I'm waiting for a dividend capture at the end of the month. I'm going to see what that dividend is, and then I'll make my decision. I really want to sell out of this because of, you know, I don't know about crypto. I'm not going to even front. It's not something I'm really well versed in. I bought into this kind of on hype. It is still down a lot. And if we do see kind of like a crypto recovery, I believe that Ethereum will recover along with Bitcoin. And in that case, you know, holding this could be profitable. But, you know, again, I'm kind of weighing all my options. I would like to use the money from this because there's $20,000 in this, and I would like to use this for something else. So we will see how that all works out. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you got a lot of value from it. Of course, without you guys, you know, this channel is nothing. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about this whole GameStop mania thing. Are you going to be buying GameStop shares right now? Actually, it might be a good idea to buy some GameStop shares. I don't know. I'm not saying you should, but you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll buy a couple shares just for some laughs, right? But yeah, let me know. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. If you really did enjoy this stuff, I enjoy putting out these videos for my audience. So with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your evening. I'm going to actually get my day started because it is 5 a.m. in the morning in Thailand. So I'm going to get my day started. So you guys have a great rest of your evening. Take care.